think we're good. Go live, almost.
So I hope you brought a bunch of questions along with you.
We'll see.
Okay. Everybody else is shy.
Live, okay, it's showing it's live. Does anybody have a phone that would go and just double check onto the YouTube channel? Okay, I think we're live. Hello everybody. We're testing out new equipment tonight, so we're gonna have, Liz is gonna just check and make sure you guys are with us. All right, welcome everybody. It's so good to have you back. We're, just for everybody that's joining us live, you know, we're on every Sunday night from the house, and all you local guys are welcome to come over on Sunday nights if you want. And then the first Sunday night of every month we're here in this location until we outgrow it at some point. And it's great to have you back. What do you think, Liz?
I'm texting Jen.
Okay, all right.
I don't remember how to get on.
Oh, you just go to, does anybody, sign on to YouTube, Ralph, and just go to the YouTube and you should see there, yeah. All right, I think we're good. It's showing, I think. Go live. Let's just make sure. Thanks for.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, good, great. All right, super. Okay, well, tonight is about mama drama and trauma. I don't know if you guys got the email about that. So, yes, as of yesterday, I had so much mama drama this week that I thought, why in the heck did I name this weekend Mama Drama and Trauma? There is like a real truth that if you put something out there, it really has power. So I don't know if you guys were around last weekend, but last weekend we were Judah was talking about the power of our words. You know, that our thoughts are seeds, and every thought that you have is creating something. And then if you speak the thought, then it's like sprouting the seed. It's like giving life to the seed. So when we think the thought, if it's a thought we don't want and we're aware and we're conscious, if we can lay hold of that seed and say, oh, I don't want that, and toss the seed, get rid of it before it takes root. But once we start speaking it, then there's power on it. It's sprouting. There's life. There's growth to it. So we want to make sure it's something that we want to grow, that we want to have in our life. And so I'm living a lot of that reality in my life. And the I don't know if you know this word manifest, but it's basically built around the concept that we're each creating our own reality, and we're manifesting everything that's happening in our life with our thoughts, words, actions, our past experiences and conditioning and all that. We're manifesting or creating what's happening in the moment. So manifestation is speeding up for me right now, sometimes very quickly, right on the heels of something I say or do. And sometimes it's comical and sometimes it's not funny at all. So my poor sweet mama is in a rehab center as of this week, and may possibly, well, I won't put words to that. We're gonna say, hopefully she's gonna recover and live a long and happy, healthy, aware, joyful life. So, mama drama and trauma. We're just gonna jump in and let Judah channel on this. And in case, I don't know if some of you that are here that are new, you may have never experienced channeling before. Should I give a brief explanation? Okay, so it's a really wild phenomenon that Chuck actually and I, years ago, he was the first person that introduced me to a channeler. We went to see this amazing channeler named Cryon, who is this really heady, intellectual engineer, very left-brained and right by the book kind of guy. And somehow he got picked by the universe to channel another being from somewhere out there in the unseen realm. And Chuck took me to see him, and it just was really weird and different and crazy, but I could feel this powerful energy in the room, and I was able to get past the phenomenon of the channeling to really listen to what was being said, and it was really life-changing and really powerful, and it just rang true to me. And so fast forward years later, Chuck and I together, you know, have been living in spiritual partnership, and he's really been instrumental in helping me grow and be my best self. And somewhere along that path, I got lovingly bombarded by this group of angels called Judah. And they would literally come and just take over, and I would suddenly hear all these messages in my brain, and they were full of love and power and wisdom, and they were so much smarter than me, right? Like I'm just not that cool, and I'm not that smart. And so here we are in this phenomenon called channeling, which is basically when an entity, some people think of them as angels or groups of angels, or some people might think of them as ETs. Some people might think of them as souls that have passed on, like grandmothers and grandfathers, people that love us and care for us from the unseen realm. They come and they talk to me. And sometimes I experience them as if they're standing outside of me, like here, there, behind me, or whatever, and it's just like I hear their thoughts. So it's like a telepathic communication, and I share it. And then other times it's almost as if energetically they kind of move into me like a cloud or a mist, and you'll hear my voice change, and I'll start talking. They'll be talking through me. So it's kind of like I step aside. My consciousness kind of steps aside and gives them the mic. So it is really, really weird. It's still really, real weird to me, but it's so beautiful, and the fruit of it's so wonderful that it's just not to be denied. And so this is what we're doing. And so I would encourage you, if you've never experienced the phenomenon of channeling before, to maybe, if you can, ignore the medium or how it's coming through, and see if there's anything in the message that seems true to you or that impacts your life or is meaningful.
Okay, don't forget.
Yes.
Everybody channels at some time. If you've ever started talking about something you knew a lot about and you really cared passionate about, and all of a sudden it was like a stream of consciousness, you're channeling. It's the same thing.
Right. So people that are making magnificent works of art, or giving earth-shattering speeches that are never forgotten, that are written down in history, those would be examples of channeling. Or people who develop electric cars like Tesla and Einstein. And so Chuck is right, there's all sorts of channeling that goes on. The kind of channeling that I'm doing is what we would call, what's called direct voice channeling. Sometimes people call this type of, if you're writing in this medium, they would call it automatic writing or channeled writing. So, all right, mama drama. Anybody here have mama drama? Ever? Yeah, all right. And keep in mind, it's not exclusive to mothers. It can apply to any sort of relationship. So, okay, here we go. Hello, dear and precious ones. Welcome to this time. Yes, we call it the Judah channel. A little play on words there. Because what you're here for is, this phenomenon is been dubbed channeling. And of course, the word has other meanings. A channel, it's just very similar to when you're at home and you change the television channel, and you can pick up myriads of different messages, can't you? Any number of things you might watch and listen to. And so we call this the Judah channel because we are Judah. We are a fifth dimensional collective from Sirius A. We are, you would best probably understand us as angels. And we are happy, extroverted, and loving beings, and we love to serve humanity. And we love this particular vessel because she makes room for us. She is a good hostess, and we are glad you are here for this party this evening. And yes, we're going to talk about mama drama. And sometimes with the mama drama in your life and even the trauma, sometimes little t, sometimes some of you may have thousands or millions of instances of little traumas with your mamas and dramas, and others perhaps a trauma or 2 or 5 or 10 with a big capital T from your mamas, such as an abandonment or neglect or abuse of some sort. So as we're speaking tonight, understand we're covering all of these things. You see there is a way in your spiritual journey, which is this: before you came into your mother's womb as a seed of life, joined with the seed of your father, the mother's seed and father's seed coming together and then splitting and splitting and splitting and expanding and expanding and expanding and exponentially the splitting and expanding and splitting and expanding until there in the middle, my dear, was your precious little heartbeat. The same heart that is beating right now in your chest. Where did you come from before you came to be in your mother? Well, you came from a place outside of space and time, a place in which you existed as a soul. And most of you here have lived many, many lifetimes and had many, many mothers. You have been mothers and you have had mothers. Yes, even you fellas. And you chose, you see, before you came into your mother's womb and began this process of life, you chose your mother and father for a reason. Reasons that you may not remember at this time, but they were for specific reasons for the evolution of your soul. And some of you have what you would call, would you consider, very good mothers, and others very bad mothers, and then a lot of everything in between. But you chose this mother. And so there is where the grace begins. Tonight you can say to yourself, yes, I have this mama drama. And I have had this mama drama, but I chose it for a reason, for purposes of the evolution of my soul. And your very first home in this life, in this incarnation, was inside of your mother. And that is why the relationship is so crucial to who you are. And for that reason, we would encourage you in all your interactions with your dear mothers to lighten up. To lighten up. Now, this vessel has been talking to you. We have been talking to you about levels of consciousness. And we're going to continue talking about this for some time going forward. Because a big part of why we, Judah, are here speaking and working through this vessel is in order to raise the level, your level of consciousness to all who will come, whoever they may be. We're going to talk on a scale from 0 to 1,000. 0 being the level of shame, hatred, despair. And 1,000 being a level of enlightenment, pure bliss and ecstasy, perfection, not being moved, pushed, or pulled by anything in one's surroundings. And this 1,000 level is that of the Buddha, and Christ and Krishna and all the beloved masters. And there are many, my dear, many people on the earth today at that level. And they are greatly, vastly increasing the level of consciousness. So we're going to begin by telling a couple of stories about enlightened masters so you can understand where you are here with your mother, wherever that may be, and where you are headed in relationship to your mother. Now, there is a story, and this we are paraphrasing, so don't be a stickler, please, for our quotations. Of Jesus. He was in a room very much like this one, in a home, the home of a friend, in a circle of seekers. They were talking and sharing together, just like we are doing here with you, in a very satsang type of format. And the room was quite crowded, and there was lots of discourse, questioning, and conversation going on. And someone said to him, "Oh Lord, look, there's your mother and brother outside. They can't get in because it's so crowded in here. They're calling for you. They want to speak with you." And Jesus was, well, you might think he was being very rude. He said, more or less, so what? He said, "Who is my mother? And who is my brother? You're my mother, and you're my brothers." Well, what do you think he meant by this? You see, his purpose and his allegiance, his reason for being here on the earth was beyond bloodlines and beyond physical, genetic, and relational bonds. He understood himself to be a being that came from a great and expanse beyond, who would one day return to that, but had a mission for why he was here and how he would transform the world. And he understood that his real family were those who were sitting and listening with him, those who were gathered, those who were hungry, those who had questions, those who wanted to expand and be more and do more. And those who were moving into love and power and grace on the earth. Those who were going to shake the earth with his teachings. Those were his mothers and his brothers, you see. And he could not be bothered by his mother's demands. And you can imagine, it's not written in scripture, but what do you think she might have been saying while she stood outside? "I can't believe that son of mine would leave me out here waiting for me, would not send someone to bring me in, or would not stop what he was doing to come and give me his attention. I'm his mother, no less." Or who knows what she might have been thinking. But you see, he understood why he was here, and he understood that at that moment in his time, the soul which was in the body of Mary, his mother, was not on the same journey. And he was able to accept that and leave her to her way, but not relinquish what he had to do out of a false sense of responsibility to family. Are you with me so far?
Yes.
Now we will tell you one other story about an enlightened being, Osho, and it is said that his mother came before him in her latter years and knelt before him like one of his followers. And he reached down and touched her feet, which was in that culture, the Indian culture, a sign of honor and respect and servitude. And the others around him assumed, oh, he is giving her respect because she is his mother. But he said, it is not so. I am giving her respect. I am giving her respect because of her egolessness, because she understands that in our relationship now, it is she who is learning from me, not me who is learning from her. So, you see, if you come into this life, in this incarnation, and let's say that your level of consciousness is the level of wisdom in the 400s, and your mother is at the level of, let's say, pride in the 300s, and you go to your mother for wisdom about something that troubles you, about something that you want to understand, you will strike out, because that is not where she is in her walk. And it's like asking a veterinarian to fix your plumbing. And so we have, my dears, we have vastly unrealistic expectations of mothers. Would you agree with that? And we must be careful not to unilaterally blame them for our hurts and problems, for they are only one in the family. Only one in the family dynamic. And depending on your perspective, your background, we will share some of this vessel's background. Her mother's maiden name was Church, and that is no accident, because she was one of 5 sisters, and they were lovingly and laughingly called the Church women. And these 5 sisters were known to be very religious and faithfully adherent to their religious tradition, and they were also known to be controlling at times and angry and manipulative and so on, and the men of the family joked about the Church women. And this is a metaphor or a prophetic ensign of some Church women, women who are raised and groomed and conditioned within certain ways of thinking, and without great care and awareness, this conditioned sort of mind is unfortunately used to control children, to bring them in line with expectations. And it has the unintended consequence sometimes of them not being able to be themselves, to be bad, to be hurt, to be sad or angry, or to question what they have been taught to be true, and many other unfortunate consequences. And without a great deal of unconditional love and awareness, this type of thinking can be used to mothers wound children with fear-based thinking. And they do it with these commonly known behaviors of mothers, such as guilting, shaming, blaming, criticizing, perfectionism, expectations. And as we share these things, we can feel the hurt start to bubble up for you. And then you grow up and you move away perhaps, and you think, oh, thank God, I'm free from that. I only have to deal with it once a year or twice a year at birthdays or holidays. But unfortunately, as children have been deeply conditioned by parents and mothers with this sort of fear-based expectation, then the child internalizes their own version of mother. And even though you are grown, mother speaks in your head, your own internal critical parent, and says, why did you do that? That was really stupid. You should have done better there. Why are you eating that? You know you're too heavy. And on and on and on, the endless critical voices in the head, attempting to keep you in line because your poor dear mother is not around to keep you in line anymore. So the critical parent in your head has to take up the mantle. Okay, so that's a lot. So where do we go with it? What in the world to do? Blaming is never the answer. This vessel was also that religious mother, deeply religious mother, and she raised 3 children much in the way that her mother raised her. She thought she was different, but the older you get, and the more you look into the mirror of your mother's eyes, the more you realize you are becoming your mother. And this is where we must begin our work, which is to release our judgments of our mothers. Because ye that judge do the same, and you shall become the thing you hate or reap it in a mate. And so the very things that hurt you in your relationship with your mother, you will either become those same things, or you will become involved in love with, in a partnership with someone who has those same traits. And this mirroring will continue until we forgive it all. And we are not talking about an appeasing or premature type of forgiveness. We're not talking about a forgiveness that allows you to be trampled on or abused. But setting your face towards an ultimate future in which you forgive it all. And the most important thing we want you to hear about this whole issue here in the way of an answer and a moving forward is to become your own loving mother. Become your own loving mother. In every moment, whatever you are facing, whatever you are feeling, whatever you are experiencing, be there for yourself. And if you don't have the example of a loving mother, or if the example was inconsistent, just imagine to yourself, maybe you know someone who was a very loving mother. And if you don't even have that, imagine for yourself, what would you do for a child, a young child that was feeling what you're feeling right now, that was going through what you're going through right now, and then be that for that child, which is you, which is yourself. And begin to reparent yourself. Reparent yourself. Letting go of scolding yourself. Letting go of holding yourself to unrealistic expectations. Letting go of the dream. You know, for each of you, we imagine, especially there are 1 or 2 here, that your parents have stated dreams for you over and over and over, and you feel the constant sorrow and hurt of knowing that you in no way want that thing. You don't want that for your life. And so you stay split all the time between trying to show love for them by fulfilling this dream and being true to yourself. And you cannot do it. This gentleman's master taught the young adults to rebel against their parents. Now, I was taught, this vessel was taught as a young person, that rebellion was a terrible sin. To rebel against one's parents was equal to witchcraft. It was equal to having a mother voodoo doll and stabbing it with pins or so on. But there is a gift in rebellion, and the gift of it is this. You say, this is not who I am and not what I want to be. And it is your soul standing up and saying, I'm more than the way you have defined for me. And I want to have my own dreams, not yours. And so if you are a mother, we are pleading with you to please release your expectations and idealizations of the perfect family and the perfect child and so on. This mother has had to die over and over to dreams and expectations for her children. But she does not know all that their soul has been through. What if a young man incarnated into this life, and in his past lives, for many lifetimes, he had been a slave, oppressed, beaten, impoverished, abused? And what if that young man incarnated into this life and he took a job and the boss was harsh and cruel and demanding, and the young man spoke up for himself and said, I quit? Does that sound like progress to you for that young man's soul? Yes. And so we mothers have to understand that we don't see and know all things, and that we can love and trust these young ones. Yes, we give them safety when they are young, and as much unconditional love as we can with the insight that we have. And then our job is over a lot sooner than we want to admit. And so mothers, speaking to mothers right now, can you let go of your attachment to your role as mother? Because even you, my dear, are more than a mother. This, we would say, for this vessel, there are 3 final frontiers in her spiritual growth. The 3 final pillars that must be pulled down for her to be all that she is being asked to be in this life. And these are the 3 pillars: good wife, good mother, good daughter. And if she can let those 3 go, then you will see what a woman can do on this earth. And for those of you who are not mothers, can you let go of your role as good son and good daughter, and instead be what your heart is crying out for you to be? Be who you are. Be who you are. even if no one in your family aligns with your dream. And for some of you young women, there is a gross, we will say, expectation that you must be a mother. And if you are not a mother, somehow you've missed something. And we would say to that, hogwash, because you've already been a mother many, many, many times and raised successfully many, many children in many lifetimes. And if you don't want to be a mother anymore, that is your right. And no one should have beans to say about that. Okay, what would you like to say? What would you like to talk about?
I have a question, Judah.
Please.
How does one balance becoming more intuitive and connecting with your higher self versus reacting and being impulsive and less, I guess, less mindful?
Wonderful. Okay. We'll restate the question in case our folks listening there to make sure they heard. And you tell us if we have the question. How can you choose being intuitive and mindful over being reactive? Does that sound on track?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Good. Excellent question. Well, your intuition, wisdom that comes from your higher self and also from higher beings such as ourselves and others, your spirit guides, which each of you here has. Your higher self, your spirit guides, their voice sounds like peace and clarity in your being. Peace and clarity. And when your intuition is stepping up, you feel very clear that you know what you know in that moment. And you may not have an explanation for what you know. You may not have any logical reasoning to back it up, but you just know it and you feel good about it. Does that make sense?
It does.
And occasionally, when you feel this sort of intuition, it might come up in you as a boldness, a sudden boldness, and you find yourself saying and doing something that you normally would not do that's uncharacteristic for your personality. You see, the personality is your fourth dimensional, the fourth dimensional parts of you, your thoughts and emotions, all your ways of thinking, believing, all of your perspectives, your political understanding, your education, all of that has built your personality. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But your intuition comes from your soul, which is eternal. And it is the part of you that is plugged in, connected to universal consciousness, to angels, to spirit guides and higher wisdom. It is the part of you that just gets it. And that always has the right answer. So to speak to your point about reactivity, one way, if you're not certain that something is your intuition or higher self, one way you can know is this. You can hold your tongue or hold it or step. Just hold it, whatever's going on. And you will continue to feel peaceful and centered and okay. what comes from your mind or your 4D, your personality, your soapboxes, your specific points of view will push you. What comes from the ego pushes you. You will feel compelled that you must take an action, you see. And that is one way to know the difference. If something comes from your intuition, you can hold it. And you feel peaceful, and you hold it, and you hold it. And the next day you wake up and you're still holding it, and you still feel peaceful, and you still know what you know. And you don't feel reactive. You don't feel pushed or coerced to say or to do. And so one of the tools that you can use to help you in, you already know there's a difference. You sense the difference between your intuition and just your personality. And when you need to double check, you can just sit on something for a little while. And most of the time, the vast majority of problems will resolve themselves if you let a little time pass without acting. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Anything else on that?
No.
Excellent question.
I have a question.
Please.
I'd like to have more productive dreams and like lucid dreams where I can control my dreams. And yeah, I'm wondering if you can give some context to what dreams are and also perhaps like some light language to help facilitate that process.
Yes. Okay, this is really weird. Hold on to your hat. Dreams are as real as what you're experiencing right now in this room. In your dreams, you are more yourself than you are in any other segment of your life. In your dreams, your soul is front and center. Front and center without any restraints of the body, correct? Think about this for a moment. Where do you go? You, the you that you are. What happens to the you that you are when you are asleep? It's still there, is it not? The you that you are, your soul, the vast part of you that is bigger than your body, is continuing on throughout your sleep. Your dreams are the primary place where you experience yourself as being like God. Because in your dreams, you are creating everything happening in the dream. Would you agree?
Maybe.
Or do you
I agree.
experience dreams
I
as being...
experience it more as like a movie that I'm like, don't have control over.
Okay.
I feel like a participant, maybe.
Okay. So you see yourself as an actor in the movie.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Well, you may, here's a little trick for you then. You may begin to even say to yourself before you sleep, tonight I'm not going to be an actor in the movie, I'm going to be the producer of the movie. I'm going to be the director of the movie. And tonight in my sleep, I'm going to create X, Y, and Z. And you state what it is that you want to create in your sleep. Dreams, science, we know from science that it is the primary place where we process the thoughts and emotions and experiences of our day. The things that we didn't finish up, the conversations we didn't finish, the tasks we didn't finish, the things that we didn't make time for. And this is a big problem for all of us, way too busy. So we go to sleep at night with a backlog of all sorts of repressed emotions and thoughts from the day. And at night, our spirits, our souls are working to sort it all out. And then if you have past traumas, childhood traumas, other very difficult situations in your current life, you have all the more than to process. And then of course there are also sometimes past life issues that are attempting to being resolved in your dreams. But that's part of the reason for gatherings like this and doing spiritual work, is eventually you clear out so much of that, and so much of that has been dealt with, that then you enter a vastly expansive place where you are creating your future with intention and beauty. So, have we told you the story about the vessel having difficulty sleeping with her new partner?
No.
Okay, we will share this as an example of how you might be released from past life trauma in a dream. So when this vessel moved in with her new partner, she was having a phenomenon of having difficulty sleeping in the bed with him. She would feel anxious, had a hard time sleeping, wanted to get up and move around in the night, and so on. It had nothing to do with him. It was something, she understood that. She didn't understand the reasons. It was just happening, and it hadn't been something she experienced before. One night she went to bed and she had a dream of a beautiful Polynesian woman, young woman, who was a servant to a slave owner, a very cruel man. And the man forced her to sleep on the bed, at the end of the bed, on the floor, like a dog, every night. She belonged to him. She was his slave. And then sometimes, if he was feeling a little more generous, he would allow her to sleep across the foot of the bed. And then at other times, when he was using her for his own sexual pleasure, he would allow her to sleep in the bed with him, beside him. And when this vessel awoke, she understood that she was seeing what happened to her in a past life. And suddenly she understood why she was uncomfortable sleeping in the bed with a man, you see? And then after that, the issue was resolved. So ask us another question about dreams, if you have some more.
Yes, I was wondering if there's any sort of light language to help facilitate lucid dreaming or make them more vivid or access different realms.
Yes, absolutely. Do you want to add anything before I do that?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Who was that guy you were just talking about?
Oh, I don't know. Just some wicked guy from some past life.
Okay, so back to the intuition piece. This is what worked for me. Because there's all this monkey chatter in my head, I can't hear that intuitive voice. It's not very loud in the beginning. So through meditation, when I was able to start having the thoughts slow down, then I could start hearing the voice in between the thoughts. And I would pay attention to that, and I would give that energy. And then what I noticed is something would pop into my mind that has nothing to do with what was going on at the time. And so I would trust that I would trust that that was intuition. So one time I was in the room with a patient. This was probably 30 years ago. And all of a sudden in my mind popped pink. And I thought to myself, pink. Now, if I say pink to this woman, she's going to think I'm crazy. And I thought, well,
I got to trust it. So I just said, what happened? I said, pink just popped into my mind. Does that mean anything to you? And she said, oh my God, I can't believe it. On my way here, somebody in a Mary Kay Day pink Cadillac almost ran me over. And so something that seemed like it had nothing to do with what was going on, because it doesn't match with what we're thinking about, can be that little voice. And sometimes I would say something in the treatment room about something, and then when the person said, oh, it doesn't mean anything to me, and then when they come back a week later, they say, oh my God, I can't believe what happened. After you told me about blah, 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 that happened to me. So the more you trust it, the louder that voice gets, and the easier it is for you to tell what your tuition is. And just know that it's never wrong. Even if you say something to somebody and it doesn't mean anything to them, it doesn't mean it won't someday, or it doesn't mean that they're unaware of that.
Okay, good. All right, let's do the transmission. So we're going to ask the Pleiadians, in case you haven't encountered them before, they are a race from the Pleiades star system, and they feel very angelic. If you ever experience them in the room with you or hear them talk, you'll feel like you've encountered an angel. They're very empathic and loving. I have 3 spirit guides from Pleiades that I work with, and they just call themselves the Pleiadian sisters. And they're always kind of like, I feel them or sense them right here. And the Pleiadian beings have their own language, and for whatever reason in some of the cultures that we run in, that's called light language. And my understanding of it is that it has, it's encoded with energy and light. So it's more than just words, it actually has like an energetic transmission, almost like if you plugged yourself into the outlet, you would feel a surge of energy from it. And so when the language comes forward, it's really doing something inside of us. We don't know exactly what, but we get a lot of really, really cool reports about feedback of people that get some really cool miracles and stuff from these. So we're going to ask the Pleiadians specifically for a transmission for astral projection, lucid dreaming. What else do you want to happen in your dreams?
Sounds like a good start.
Okay.
So before you do that, don't forget about the power of intention. When you go to sleep, plant an intention in your mind. Your mind does not sleep, and so give it something to do. So you should never go to sleep with something uncomfortable or painful or horrible, like the news, 11 o'clock news, in your head, because that will be going on in your mind all night long. So plant the intention. Tonight I want to have a lucid dream, and I want to remember having the lucid dream. And so you might have to do that, who knows, 10 nights in a row, 12 nights in a row, 15 nights in a row, but that will work. You do manifest whatever your intention is.
And the part of the shift that can happen is, instead of you being an actor in your dreams are going to shift, and instead you'll have more of like a, what you would call like a God-like perspective, where you're above the dream looking down at it happening. Does that make sense? And that's part of how you'll know that shift has happened. And then I also feel like maybe we should do a transmission for people with mama pain. Does that sound like that should be happening? Okay, let's do that too. All right, here we go. Hello, dear ones. Yes, we would most certainly love to assist you in the area of dreams. Dreams are a wonderful expanse in which we can meet and greet you and make our introductions and influence you towards your highest potential. Yes, we can have great adventures in dreams together. O cha uya ania ayo utsa ita uta urata ai rete utikai ushna ai ana ai u sa ai shitnai take ai ro atara aiti isita u shika anaya aya na usaka ra shunanare te I rito osutakara ishta itaka urate te arete to kariero roto sotarash te tekatu Iketanani taraketito shteka ta eta. Okashita utakana take ete, and we release any parts of your mind and emotions that would act as anchors or weights to your souls in your dreams, so that you can rise up higher in your dream life and be the creators of your dreamscape and also your day-to-day third-dimensional reality. Ota itika shana I ite etiki rete rata kida te yotara setara bashte take bata miyotoga ishikata to ra isaka ishte rede do ita rede he tiko shana itika ha yiti utseta ta ocha ana itsi utaka rate Urete uri an taka ashti kite taka kite. Eteka taka ashta. Echika anuta ate. And for the dear mothers, he would like to release a transmission for healing all pain around your experience as a mother and your experience with your mother. Kumana heoto sotaina chi noraina hete shutadare rosso ritikenate kumalaya no hoitse Chite roto ite nikiti Videro roto sotare te roto sete utaste Ashte nekero Isara terararia Siroro shirorati. And to every son and daughter, may you be completely saturated and filled with the love, with the mother love, with the mother love of all love, all the mother love of universal consciousness. May every cell of your being be saturated with love and freedom, and may you be released from every mental, emotional, and physical bondage, from hurt and pain with your mother's past, parallel, present, and future lives. All of it cleared. Vashnarere reteti koratsatere Shvero tondayo toku sarate neshti Ailo hake Utsalamala yetse ushvarete kura Sutarete veshura Tsiatse Kimalintuna chitike Uchayorete Yes, and may you be a great mother to many, 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 many. And we would say for those of you who have made a conscious choice not to have physical children, for those of you, you shall be mothers to vast, vast numbers of spiritual children. And this is a great cosmic inheritance. A great cosmic inheritance. So mother, 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 all those spiritual children coming to you, and rejoice and rejoice and rejoice, because the work of reparenting, is so vast, so vast, so vast in humanity. And there is a great, 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 great need for spiritual mothers to reparent, to reparent, to reparent. And we just want to, yes, Judah here, and I just want to give one more invitation to anyone here watching who is longing for a physical woman in the flesh to love, 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 and reparent them. Love, 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 and reparent them with unconditional love and acceptance. We call on those spiritual mothers now to step up and step forward and be spiritual mothers to the precious ones, asking and looking for a new mother, another mother to heal the heart. And may each spiritual mother listening to this message step up, and may every precious son and daughter longing for a spiritual mother quickly and soon and with certainty and intuition be matched with this beautiful spiritual mother who will physically wrap her arms around you and love you and accept you and take you as you are and see your beautiful heart healed. And so be it. Anybody else? Questions, comments?
I lost something. Do you think Judah can help me find it?
We can certainly ask.
I lost these gold hoop earrings. I don't know where they went.
Okay.
They were on, well, whatever, go ahead.
Go ahead.
They were on my little jewelry organizer thing, and then they were just gone one day. Like, I don't know where they went.
She's jumping timelines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jump back to that old timeline.
What about you? Did you ever find your ring, sweetie?
No, I'm still on the search for it.
And then what about Griffin's stuff? Did his things turn up?
Yeah, his chain was at his friend's house, or at his cousin's house.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
water
Bingo.
bottle.
We got one right.
Where's the water bottle?
Do you have the water bottle here? Did you ever check?
I can't.
Evidently, the receptionist must have thrown it away. Yeah, because it sat around here for the longest time, and it had been months since he left it here. And
I'm gonna say goodbye to our live family, and we're gonna finish up our. We're looking for lost things. We're gonna ask Judah for help finding lost things. Bye. Love you guys. Thanks for being here. You want to shout at them and tell them bye? Bye. They're being quiet. Okay. All right. Let's see if I can tap into that, sweetheart. Let me just hit the.
What does jumping timelines mean?
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen us very often, but one example was.
No, it happens all the time.
Well, can I tell them about the one with your glasses?
Yeah.
So Chuck and I are sitting beside each other, just watching TV or whatever, just like we are here, right? And his glasses are hanging, on his string on his neck, and I'm aware of it. He's aware of it. And we're just watching TV or whatever, and none of us has gone anywhere, right? We haven't left the room or done anything. We've just been sitting there, and some time passes, and he says, "Where are my glasses?" And I look at him, and his glasses are not there. Not there.
I've been telling her forever and ever, this happens to me all the time, and she wouldn't believe me.
And I actually witnessed it at that time. And I was like, okay, I know he's not just screwing around with me.
Oh my God, that happened to Griffin.
Yeah.
Just recently. We went to Concord Mills or the mall or whatever, and his car is like a 2000 Ford truck or whatever, so he doesn't have an aux cord, so we always have to bring his JBL speaker. And when we went back in the car, it wasn't there. we looked everywhere in the car and it was not there. And he just texted me and said he found it under the seat. It was,
that
oh
happens
my
sometimes.
God. I'm a little comfortable.
So do you want to know what parallel timelines are?
Yeah.
Anybody? Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. So you've heard there's no such thing as time. So what gives us the illusion of time is it's like a movie. We're going from one frame to the next frame, continuously changing, which gives us a sense of time. And so the next frame, like when you're seeing a